You know how it is in a hospital. A problem pops up, we slap a bandage on it, and we have to move on to the next urgent thing. But what about that same problem that just keeps coming back? Today, we're going to talk about root cause analysis. It's about moving past the bandages and actually fixing the systems that cause problems in the first place. This is how we make real, lasting improvements for our patients and, honestly, for our own teams too.
So let's just start with the scene we have all lived through. A patient falls. Right away, our training just kicks in, there's a flurry of activity. But when it all calms down, what have we really fixed? Is that standard response actually going to stop it from happening again tomorrow?
Of course, the patient is number one. We take care of the injury, we comfort them, we document everything perfectly in a report. The incident is handled. But here's the tough question. Did we solve the reason the patient fell? Or did we just reset the clock until the next fall?
And that right there is the huge difference we're talking about. Being reactive, that's just treating the symptom. It's a temporary fix, and you know the problem is going to pop up again. Being proactive, though, that's about finding a lasting solution. That's how we prevent it from happening over and over.
This brings us to the whole point of this explainer. How do we actually find that real, hidden why? Well, let's dive into the basics of root cause analysis. So what is root cause analysis, or RCA anyway? Just think of it like being a detective. It's a structured team investigation. And the number one rule, it's never, ever about finding someone to blame. It's about finding the flaw in the process or the system that let the mistake happen. We are fixing systems, not pointing fingers.
And this isn't just some random idea we came up with. This whole philosophy of continual improvement is actually the bedrock of major quality standards like ISO 9001. RCA is just the tool that lets us put that big idea into practice in our daily work.
To really get to the bottom of things, we need tools that make us look past that initial incident report. I love this quote because it's exactly right. We have to understand the systems behind the problem. So let's check out our first tool for doing exactly that.
All right, our first tool is all about getting every single possible cause out on the table. It's officially called an Ishikawa diagram, but you're about to see why pretty much everyone just calls it a fishbone diagram. This diagram is basically a brilliant way for a team to brainstorm. Its only job is to get every single potential cause out of our heads and organize in a way that actually makes sense. It's all about making our thinking visible.
And yeah, you can see right away where it gets the name. The main problem is the head of the fish. And then, branching off like a skeleton, you have your big categories of causes. For us in healthcare, that's often things like equipment, policies, the environment, and of course, people.
Now, using it is actually pretty straightforward. First, you get the team to agree on a really clear definition of the problem. Then, you decide on your main categories. Third, you just brainstorm every possible cause anyone can think of. But here's the most important part, step 4. For every cause you write down, you have to ask, but why? Why did that happen? That's how you dig down to the real root.
So let's circle back to our patient who fell. Here's a finished diagram. See the problem statement on the right? And look, under equipment, someone put lift battery not charged, and under staff, we see AIDS care card not current. We're already getting way past the surface level here.
And check out what this process uncovered. The real problem wasn't a careless aid. The root causes were systemic failures. There was no good process for making sure lift batteries stay charged, and there was a broken process for updating patient care info. See that? We went from blaming a person to finding a fixable problem in our system.
Okay, so the fishbone diagram is awesome for getting ideas out, but now you're staring at a whiteboard that's full of potential causes. And we all know in the real world, we don't have endless time and money. You can't fix everything at once. So how do you decide where to even begin?
And that question leads us perfectly into our second tool. This one is all about prioritizing. It's about focusing on what we call the vital few, using something called a Pareto analysis.
Pareto analysis is based on a really famous idea called the 80-20 rule. And it basically says that in almost any situation, a huge chunk of your problems, like 80% of them, are caused by just a small handful of things, around 20% of the causes. Our job is to find that critical 20%.
The whole idea here is to rank our problems so we can focus our energy on the solutions that are going to give us the biggest bang for our buck. It is the definition of working smarter, not harder. So let's pretend we gathered up all the patient complaints from the last month. We've got a list, right? Some complaints about long waits, some about billing, some about medication. It's just a bunch of numbers at this point.
But watch this. The moment we put that same data into a Pareto chart, everything changes. All of a sudden, the picture is perfectly clear. The bars are sorted from the most frequent problem down to the least, and that one massive bar on the left, long wait times, it just dwarfs everything else. We just found our vital few.
I mean, the chart makes the decision for us, doesn't it? If we want to make the biggest possible improvement to the patient experience, we know exactly where to put our energy. We have to tackle the wait times. Now we have clear, data-driven proof of where to start.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. These tools, they're not just for meetings and whiteboards. They're a real pathway from just talking about a problem to actually taking action. So let's just quickly walk through the process again. It starts with making a decision to stop just putting on bandages. Then we use a tool like the fishbone diagram to ask why over and over again. After that, we use a Pareto chart to cut through all that noise and find the one or two big things we should focus on. And the result? We actually improve the system for good.
And really, this is the ultimate goal. When we use these tools, we fundamentally change our approach. We stop being firefighters running from one crisis to the next, and we start becoming more like architects, proactively building safer and more reliable ways to care for our patients.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Think about that one nagging problem on your unit. You know the one everyone complains about, but it never seems to really get fixed. What's its true root cause? And what's the first step you can take to start finding it?